Hello, followers and friends. Today we're going to talk about the three different kinds of reality. So we have a reality that's based on truth. It's healthy. It's good to remember to always fact check yourself, to know that you are living in a reality that's based on truth. We also have a false reality that we can create as children, or that we can be influenced by when we're children by others, because children have to create a reality that they're able to process. And then we also have a reality that we create for ourselves. It's neither truth nor false. It comes from our ideals, our principles, our choices, and it creates the mood that we want to have in life. So I'm going to do a video addressing all three of these realities, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So I'm going to talk about the false reality first, because this is tricky. It's a very natural thing for a child to create a false reality or to be influenced in such a way that they live in a false reality. For example, say a child lives in a very wealthy setting. They have a home that is, really fine, and everything is perfect, and all of their needs are met. They're never hungry, they're never in want. They don't even understand what want is because everything's provided for them. But in reality, their parents could be in debt to the point that they're almost bankrupt. They could be right on the verge of being homeless. But they don't let the child know, of course, because they don't want the child to be worried or upset. And then there's false realities where you can have a parent or a grandparent that teaches a child things that are untrue. Say, for instance, they want to make the other parent or someone else look bad in the child's eyes, so the child does not want to be with that person. Then there are realities. There is a false reality where children just make believe, and this is very natural. It's very good for them to be able to have imaginary friends, play in a fantasy world where they can block out the noise and the distractions of the real world that can be just way too much for them to process. So, moving on from that, as an adult, we move out of the false reality and move into the reality of truth. And sometimes in adolescence, this can be really painful because you can discover things about people that you've trusted that all of a sudden it's like, why did I ever trust that person? And as a child, they can be shocked or become afraid of someone that they formerly trusted. But if you are faced with trauma as a child, or you're not bonded with properly, proper bonding is very important. You may get stuck in this false reality. And what happens is you grow older, but essentially because it's uncomfortable to face truth and to face a reality based on truth, you choose essentially to remain in a false reality. Or you may choose to just reject any kind of reality at all and just avoid any kind of truth. But people that stay stuck in a false reality through childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, and on, are always in a very unsustainable life. They're climbing to the top of what they think is reality and then falling to the bottom to realize it's not working. They're believing a lie, or creating a lie, or living on teachings that don't hold true. So their reality is always shaken. And it's healthy to move through these stages. And I can remember several times in my young adulthood or my adolescence where, say for instance, I was in a place that I didn't really know what I was going to find, and I found something. And because of that, the person that had this thing, it was like, whoa. And another example for me was I lived in a household where there was no rough talkers. Everybody talked, even if arguments were kept at low key and there was no cussing, and, even in a mild form, it was just very light. So I had went outside with my dad, and my dad was going outside to talk to someone. And this man that was my dad was talking to was really a rough talker, which I didn't even understand what that was, but he was saying all kinds of, in my mind, bad words. And I was just so shocked. As a child, I was just like, oh my goodness, I didn't know people, and some of the words he was saying, I didn't even know what they meant. But I was like, oh my goodness, this is just terrible. There's bad people in the world. And if you've watched some of my other videos, I was never really prepared for life anyway. But in a later video, I'm going to address proper bonding for children, which is super, super important, and teachings on raising children are super, super important. So, and I've learned the hard way, because as a parent, I failed a lot, but I have made it my business to learn and understand where I failed and what I could have done better. But we can have a false reality that literally is just us lying to ourselves. And the old saying where it says, to thine own self be true. And essentially how I take that is, to yourself speak the truth. Really open your eyes, look around. What is the truth? And a lot of times we refuse to accept the truth about other people, because another person can be literally telling you who they are. And you're constantly saying, no, you're not like that. You're not that person, because you don't want to believe that they are. And they're literally telling you who they are, and you're refusing to listen. And this can happen, like, say, in narcissistic relationships where, they're trying to get your sympathies, or they're trying to get your attention in some way, or playing the victim, and it's like, oh, I'm this and I'm that. And you in turn validate them by telling you, no, you're not this bad person. So, to yourself be true. Be truthful about yourself. Who are you really? And what are your motives? What are your ideals? Now, deep down in all of us, there is the ability to watch yourself and say, am I doing this particular thing to be impressive, to motivate, to manipulate? Am I triangulating? Have I told one thing to one person, but then kind of slipped up a little bit on the truth to another, so they would be blindsided? Hopefully a lot of these things aren't true for you, but the fact is we have to be diligent and constantly checking ourselves. Because if you are in a false reality, whether it comes from your childhood, misrepresentation, lying to yourself, or whatever, you are never going to have stability. And stability is that thing where you're not like dropping off the end. You are, you're gliding along smoothly, and when you see something's erratic or not just right, you correct it. When it comes to reality based on truth, this is not based on opinion. It's not based on ideals, perfectionism, presentism. It's not based on anything but what you know is the truth. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So a gentleman in a brown suit walks in your office and asks you a question. Where is the public bathroom? And you tell him, and he walks back out of your office. You're going to know that's the truth. If someone comes into your office and said, I just saw a man in a blue suit go in the women's bathroom. Is that truth? You don't know it to be true. Or it could have been true. Or it could have not been true. Or say, for instance, if it's coming from someone else, likely it is not something that you can base on reality. What you see with your eyes, hear with your ears, you can trust. Now, what happens is our ears become blocked because we don't want to hear it. It's see no evil, hear no evil, think no evil, a lot of times. Or you can turn that around where everything you see is evil and everything you hear is evil, and you're constantly thinking evil. These are choices that you have to make, but constantly evaluate yourself and say, am I living in reality? Because if you're in a relationship with someone that tell you, I'm just out for a good time, I have no intentions of commitment, and let's just have fun, and you're constantly thinking you're going to win them over. No, that's not true. He treats me so good, he surely must love me. He acts like he loves me. So you're talking to yourself. But what you need to do is be based in reality. Okay, so I'm going to talk about something that is really personal, right? So to cope with reality, whether false or real, we create a reality that is kind of a pseudo-reality. We choose our opinions, our politics, our religion or no religion. We choose all of these things because of our opinions, our experiences. But what we are actually doing is creating a comfort zone. And this comfort zone allows us to feel good about ourselves. And this is okay. As long as you're being morally upright and having good intent, not wishing or doing evil on others, this is very healthy to have an ambience about your life, an idealism about your life. This is going to allow you to cope, kind of like a child, with your own reality and with the reality that is around us that is false, the reality that is around us that is based on truth, but also our past and our future. Because the past can be traumatic, the future can be scary. So coming within your own borders to create ambience And we can even create an ambience that just gives us comfort or inspires us, listening to study music. I love castles and grand English country manners. So I'll put on, something that gives me that ambience because I feel really comfortable in it. Sometimes if I'm super, super sad, and if you know anything about my YouTube channel and you know anything about how I share, I'm very, very real. I am going to be very real. What you see about me is going to be real. I am not going to play games and make people think that I'm something that I'm not. But if I'm in one of my really dark moods, I'm probably, like I'm in the Jane Eyre level. I'm probably going to listen to dark ambience because when I get in the feels, I want to cry. I want to feel my pain because what I'm doing is I'm processing it so I can get rid of it. Holding those things in can make you ill. And I have tried before holding it in because nobody wants to listen, nobody wants to hear it, everybody thinks you're being a victim, or everybody thinks you're just whining and complaining. So I learned to hold things in. But what happens when I hold things in is I break out in hives from head to toe. So I realize I have to express, I have to process my negative feelings. And hopefully I'll do it in a way that is not painful or hurtful to other people. But getting off of me and talking about reality. We need to balance reality. Make sure you're not believing a lie. Make sure you're not believing something that you're being influenced that is not true. Make sure you're not lying to yourself so that you'll feel good about something that you shouldn't be feeling good about. And make sure that the things that you are taking as truly reality are based on truth. And then it's perfectly healthy to create that in the middle reality that you choose yourself. You choose your ambience. You choose what you want to feel emotionally in your safe space. So this gives you a wide berth, but it takes some work, it takes some effort, but after a while, the realities that you live in can become very safe, and the realities you live in can become a safe space. And don't get them mixed up. False reality made based on truth, and then your own ambience. Okay, I'm going to say bye for now. It was great talking to you, and I'll see you next time.